Hello, everybody. My guest today is Omar Zenhom. He's the co-founder and CEO of WebinarNinja, an all-inclusive, easy-to-use webinar platform that allows you to create a webinar in 10 seconds flat. He's also the host of an iTunes Best of 24 podcast, the $100 MBA Show. The show has delivered 900 plus lessons and counting to over 50,000 daily listeners. Omar, are you ready to take us to the top?
I'm ready, man.
All right. So it was so fun having you on last time, talking everything WebinarNinja. I remember appreciating that you used your own channels, like your podcast, your list, to basically grow this SaaS company in a bootstrapped fashion. So tell everyone, what's the company do and where are you at today?
Sure. So we are a webinar platform called WebinarNinja, and our goal is to make it easy for people to run webinars. Basically, allow people that are not tech savvy, people to jump in and present and run a webinar without having to worry about things kind of crashing or having to manage the tech. So we let the tech fade in the background. We started the company in April 2014, basically scratching my own itch. I was running webinars myself to grow the $100 MBA community. Really didn't like the tools that are out there. I had a hodgepodge, a whole bunch of them, Frankenstein, the whole thing. Decided to create something for myself. I actually just hired a freelance developer to clean up some code for me. And I just ran webinars with it. And the attendees were like, hey, what are you using for this? It looks pretty cool. I said, it's just something I slapped together. They were like, can I buy it? And I was like, give me a couple of days to put up a sales page. So, but to be quite honest, we decided to pre-sell it for 250 users to see if you get any traction, people really looking for an alternative. And we sold out in 48 hours. So we were like, okay, definitely there's something going on here. We have something in our hands.
Omar,
so
real quick, sorry, that's a great lesson. Give me the verbiage there. So a lot of people, they're worried about pre-selling because they don't know what to tell people once they've given them their money. Like, do you tell them, expect to get this in 2 months? Like, how do you do that and feel good about it?
That's a good question. So I basically told them, hey, this is what we're planning to do with the software. I use a lot of, it was just text and images, basically mock-ups from PSDs of what we are planning to have. We gave a rough estimate of delivery, like we said, by the end of the third quarter. This is when we're looking to deliver the software to you. And then we said, hey, if for any reason things don't work out, we don't have enough people to buy, we don't sell out, whatever, we'll refund your money. So this is just a risk reversal type of situation here.
Great way to do it.
And as we were building, we were contacting these pre-sold buyers, people that bought before they received the product and got feedback, asked them, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And it kind of held them on even when we had a slight delay. We're like, okay, cool. So we took it from there in 2014.
You keep them emotionally connected, right?
Yeah. And also just feel like they're a part of the actual app, seeing that like, hey, I'm actually contributing to what it's going to be. And we still do that with our users, getting feedback from them, seeing what things they like. Sometimes we got to kill some features that they don't use, which is kind of hard because you invest so much money and time. So we took it from 250 users in 2014 to today, almost hitting 13,000. Not here or there yet, but a little bit over 12,800 users.
That's 12,000. That's 12,800 like paying customers or just free users?
Paid users.
Yeah, that's great. I'm curious. I wonder if I have this data, if my research team put this in the notes. They did. Yeah. So, I mean, back when you came on last time, which would have been March of 2016. At that point, you had 1,900 customers, $115 ARPU. And I believe that, what did that put you at? Like 200 something grand a month in revenue. So you've scaled now to, you just said about 12,800 customers. Is ARPU still about 115?
No. So our MRR has, so we did a whole bunch of things with our pricing to test how we can increase our MRR as well as move people from monthly to annual to increase our ARR. So we grown from that last talk. I was just looking at some of my numbers, over 250%.
Okay. Revenue or just customer count?
No, revenue.
Okay.
So for us, it was not explosive growth, but for us, that was a steady growth enough for us to be able to build and
Omar, that's great. That's great growth for a bootstrap company, man.
Yeah. It's awesome for Bootstrap. A lot of people they listen to some great stories with Airbnb and Instagram. They're like, oh my gosh, these guys, everybody expects like 10x growth. But it's very it's a different animal, like you said, with self-funding. But for us, we're very happy with the growth that we've had.
Yep.
And I think it has a lot to do with just being intimate with your customers.
And so today, like last month, what'd you do total? Just give us general size today.
Let me just grab my numbers so I can get you.
Cool. You guys, by the way, while he's bringing that up, the first show he was on, that would have been episode 252. If you go to nathanlatka.com/the top 252, you can listen to that. And were you, Omar, my notes, were you in San Diego then? Was that pre-move?
Yeah, I'm in Sydney now.
Yeah. Yeah, back then you had told me 7% monthly logo churn, $3 CAC. We'll talk more about how these have changed over time. Do you use Barometrics?
We use Barometrics. We also use ProfitWell just to cross-reference.
do they always equal, or are there big differences?
Sometimes there's some differences, especially when it comes to churn. I don't know. Some people calculate churn in a different way. So we're at 7.7 ARR right now.
Okay. Yep, 7.7 ARR, which would be, what does that come out to? About 641,000 a month.
641.
Yeah, that's really healthy. So if we take that 641 divided by 12,800 paying customers, that means each one's paying you about $50 per month. So an SMB or any of you listening right now can afford this platform, right? Now, Omar, where's the growth come from? I mean, your show obviously has a lot of reach with 50,000 daily listeners, so you've driven a lot of your own earned customers, but where's the growth come from?
Mostly it comes with content marketing. I'm a big believer in content marketing. So we do a lot of content marketing when it comes to how to present and how to create your webinars. So we have an online course that, I mean, to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of paid courses that are not as good. That are $2,000. So we offer this course absolutely for free. It's 7-part video course with workbooks and things like that. And that leads to our live workshops. So I have different live workshops I do when it comes to creating and presenting presentation skills on the webinar, as well as sales skills, as well as how to grow your business with webinars, how to do joint webinars, all that kind of stuff.
What's the link for that, Omar, so people can look at it?
Definitely. So they can go to webinarninja.com/course. That's the online course. And then if you ever want to hop on our next workshop, you can just go to webinarninja.com/workshop. And I run all our workshops live. We have other people that run some of our onboarding workshops, but any workshops that are becoming a member, sales webinars, I like to be there just because I enjoy it so much. I enjoy teaching. I've been a teacher all my life. And I just feel like it gives me a pulse as the leader of the company to know what people need and are looking for.
That's right. And what's the pattern there? You do it once per month or once a week or what?
I do it once a week, and then I do every 2 weeks. I do a webinar as well for our members, which is just open Q&A, as well as exploring and showing them the new features that released that last month. It also helps reduce churn, is to get people to understand that, hey, by the way, you may not know because you've been on this platform for a year or something, that we have all these new things that you wish you could have had. We have them now.
What is churn today?
So churn's at 4.1, which is not bad.
Well, and that's logo churn monthly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really healthy. It was about 7 about 2 years ago when we last spoke. So that's really healthy. Did you do anything?
We worked really hard on that.
I was going to say, did you do anything intentional to drive that down, and give us the top 2 most effective?
Top 2 is the live webinars. We have a 14-day trial. We do a live webinar during that trial to make sure that, to reduce that churn and the cancellation of trial. But we also do one once they're a month in. And this is more of an intensive one, which kind of shows them all the different kind of features they may not be aware of, as well as just like what's best practices, how you can save some time when creating webinars, how you can save things as default so you don't have to rewrite your email notifications, all that kind of stuff. Those really helped. The other thing that really helped is just solid content. We created a lot of great in-depth tutorials, and we drip feed them through our email notification, through our email marketing sequence. So basically when they become a member, they get relative information. We have a starter guide that gets them going, and then some just quick tips on how to use the technology as they're going through.
Which tool do you use, Omar, for that? Is that built into your WebinarNinja, or use someone else?
No, we use ActiveCampaign, to be honest.
ActiveCampaign. Okay, got it. So good. Okay, so those 2 things, the live stuff and the drip onboarding, drove churn down to 4.1%, which is significant when you start looking at lifetime value.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, what about CAC? I mean, what do you spend? Are you doing any direct paid stuff? What's it costing you to acquire a customer?
That's a good question, Nathan. Last year we did a lot of paid through Facebook ads. We used to do a lot of paid to get to the course, to get them on our email list, and then get them on the webinar. We rarely did straight to a webinar, but we actually have stopped doing paid ads for the last 6 months. And it was just an experiment for me. I wanted to see if I can up my SEO game and try to get people through our blog. So we really worked hard on redoing our whole blog. I actually got a lot of great consulting advice from Brian Dean from backlinko.com. Brian Dean is a good friend of mine, and he's really helped me reshape the way I think of SEO. And this basically was just an experiment to say, hey, let me try 3 months of no ads, but really like go super hard on really great content on our blog and maximize our SEO to see, can I get these people via search versus ad through paid? Basically investing my time and money into the content rather than the ads. And it actually panned out much better and less stressful, to be honest with you. It's really stressful when you constantly have to change your ads and change your audiences and all that stuff. And I mean, we have somebody who works on that, but they have targets to hit and all that stuff. So we're really going to spend the rest of 2018 maximizing social. And we do some paid stuff, but maybe just for like promotions, certain launches, certain JV things we do. But we've kind of turned away from our paid advertising.
And what's your total team size today, Omar?
30. So we have 30 full-time employees. We have a couple of freelancers in addition to that, but we have 30 full-time.
So do you ever look at, I mean, maybe not because you don't have to, but I mean, do you ever take all your marketers and onboarding people of the 30, add up the salaries and then divide by number of new customers they're driving per month to get like a fully weighted CAC, or no, that's not an important metric for you?
We don't actually do that because you're going to be surprised to hear this, but I do a lot of that. Just because I enjoy a lot of the salesmanship of it. I love trying to craft these pieces of content. I write the whole blog. I shoot I'm in the videos, but we do have a full-time editor for our blog for the content as well as our video editor. We haven't actually done that calculation recently. We did it maybe at the start just to see, because we were kind of, again, we're bootstrapped. Every dollar counts. Yep. Today, a lot of what we do is just trying to go back to basics. I think a lot of new businesses, bootstrap businesses, they try to dump money on marketing and don't realize that some of the stuff that worked, but is a lot of hard work, works. Like I'll give you a good example. One of our number one drives of traffic the last 2 months that I've kind of linked back through my Google Analytics and some of the other tools that we've used is a blog post that I wrote. Now, it wasn't a 300-word blog post. It was an 8,000-word blog post called The Ultimate Guide, the Definitive Guide to Webinars. And it just got so many shares and so many backlinks and so many things. Because it took me 7 weeks to write this thing. It's got videos, it's got infographics, it's got images. But it drives so many sales. And I calculated how many sales we got just from that blog post. And we got over 1,000 sales off 2 months of just a blog post. And I was like, okay, this is definitely something. And this is, I got to give Brian Dean credit. He told me, you got to just go full steam ahead on great content and be the authority when it comes to these things. So when people search like how to run a webinar, you show up and you just gobble up all that SEO.
Yeah, I mean, 1,000 sales at $50 pop, that's 50 grand in MRR. Not bad for just one person, 2 months work. Yeah. Assuming, and I probably, you probably weren't just writing that full time either, but it would take you forever to get that kind of return on ads.
Yeah, and I got to give credit to our team who helped us. We have Connor, our great editor, who edited the content. We have video editing going on. We have a lot of people changing our images, sourcing images, getting all that stuff cleaned up, and obviously populating it in WordPress. So I wrote the bare bones of the content, but they made it look gorgeous.
That's great. Now, in terms of lifetime value, if you do 1 divided by your churn, you're getting 24 or 25 months on average out of these folks at $50 a pop. It's like $1,000, $1,200 in LTV. Are you doing anything? I mean, you have a healthy base. Are you looking at buying other companies to upsell like similar related to webinar products, or no?
Right now, we're not looking to purchase any companies, just because right now we're just looking to build our own growth. But we're really heavily invested in trying to team up with companies to have better integrations, to do cross promotions with each other. We're working with Aweber to do that as well. Yeah. Because they have similar audiences as well. We also trying to step out of the tech market a little bit into the soft skills to see if we have a good marriage with other companies. One company that we have teamed up with. Here's a good example. One company we teamed up with is Heroic Public Speaking by Michael Port and Amy Port. So they specialize in public speaking training. And I was actually trained by them. So all my public speaking skills came from them. And so a lot of people that go to their courses, go to their website, go to their workshops, go to their their center, they are author speakers. They're a perfect fit for our software. They need public speaking skills, and it's a good practice to do it on webinars. So it's a good marriage. So we've kind of we teamed up with them so they can be able to present Webinar Ninja to their crowd and be like the official webinar platform for that company. And we're going to do the same with other types of businesses.
That's really fascinating. Last question here before we wrap up: growth. What are you growing at year over year? I know you said over the past 3 years it's been like 250%, but over the past 12 months, what's it been? It's been
180% this last year.
That's amazing. I mean, so you're doing 640 today. That means you would have been doing, call it like 210, 220 about it 13 months ago.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, that's Omar. I mean, that's really incredible, especially for a bootstrapped company. I don't think I've ever heard any other bootstrap company, but besides maybe Acuity Scheduling, growing at that rate.
Yeah, Gavin's a monster.
Yeah, he's great. You guys, you guys should. I'm sure you're already connected, but I imagine you have the same kind of user bases.
Yeah, he's been a sponsor on our podcast a couple of times. We did some fun stuff together. Great company and great growth. And I think one thing I want to just add is, I think one of the things that really has helped us with the growth is obviously the marketing and the SEO, all that stuff is great, but we've been really careful with costs and how much we spend and how much money goes out. It's so easy when you're doing well and you're growing and you're selling, be like, let's, have a big slide in our office or whatever it is, And there's nothing wrong with fun.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's all fun. It's all fun to have that kind of stuff and have great camaraderie with your team. But you got to really take a look at your costs. How much are you spending? Is there any way I can save money here, save money there? And negotiate. Like we negotiate our rates with all our, with AWS. We talk to them, say, hey, this is our growth. This is what's going on. We need a better rate. And some people don't even pick up the phone and try to negotiate better rates with their service providers. So definitely could do that. And it helped us cut our costs a lot and obviously increase profitability.
Well, guys, I encourage you, if you want other little ninja tips like that, go listen to Omar's podcast, The $100 MBA. It's a good one. I appreciate it because it gives you those quick popcorn-like bites that you can chomp on, digest, and execute immediately. That Omar tactic you just articulated is one of my favorites as well. I just will send an email to I'll go in our P&L every month. I'll get the emails of everything under software subscriptions. I'll email them all and say, I need to cancel my account. You'd be shocked how many of them have automated processes to reply back to say, we'll give you a discount. I'm like, okay, good. I'll take the discount. Yeah.
And here's another ninja tip. If you don't want to do all that work, if you don't want to do that stuff, contact Get Human. Get Human.
No.
So Get Human, they're a website that help you get like a human on the phone to any company. But if you email them, they have a service that they don't advertise. They have a service they'll do all that legwork for you and negotiate all your rates. And they basically charge, I think, 15% or something of the savings you get. So it's a no-brainer. Even if you have no time, those guys will do it for you.
Now, are you plugged into Patrick? You mentioned, do you use ProfitWell? Patrick obviously runs that. He was just on the show. Have you tied into their retain tool yet? And did it drive your churn down?
To be honest, I looked at their churn tool. It's really good. It's not bad at all. But I really fell in love with Stunning.com. So Stunning's a small startup, and I really enjoyed. So I did their trial, but they have a lot of great features that when it comes to dunning emails that I didn't see in the other kind of tools, especially like customizing who exactly gets what. So for example, I want to send a reminder email that you're going to be renewed only for annual plans. I don't want it for all plans, right? And I only want for specific annual plans that they're going to get a reminder, and I want to change the copy and change the variables and all that stuff. So it's really good for that. It's also good if you're delivering bonuses for people that buy, and you say, hey, when they buy at this date, at this filter, it's really, really great. And it does a lot of the work that some of the email automation stuff doesn't do.
Fascinating.
So I like Stunning.
Okay, good. Stunning.com, is that the URL?
.co, I believe.
.co, stunning.co. Very good. All right, Omar, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's the last business book that you read?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Last business book I read was, so I'm reading this right now, is How to Worry Less and Enjoy Life More. I think that's the title by oh my gosh.
I'll put it in the show notes. I'll look it up.
Sorry, just drawing a blank.
That's okay. How to worry less and enjoy life more.
Yeah, it's the same guy that wrote Dale Carnegie. Sorry. So Dale Carnegie wrote that book. Great book. It's really giving me a fresh perspective. Before that, I read Disturbed, which is a book about the startup culture. A fun book. So those two books are great. I also love autobiographies. So I actually love listening to any kind of autobiography or biography from any kind of successful person, even if they're a musician, like, or a stand-up comedian or anything like that. I just Bored Standing Up was a great book that I read. It was a great autobiography just finished. So I love biographies.
Number 2, who's your favorite big thinker in Sydney to get dinner with?
Wow, big thinker. It's got to go with Elon Musk. That guy just he has no limits. The dude has no limits. He's inspiration, really. I think regardless if you agree with him, disagree with him, he lets you dream. He allows you to dream with how big he thinks. So I love Elon. Besides
WebinarNinja, what is your favorite tool for growing your business?
Basecamp, without a doubt, because it allows me to control, to really manage and have control over a remote team in a very constructive, easy way with to-do lists and notifications and all that stuff.
And number 4, Omar, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
I gotta get 8. If I don't get 8, I'm not somebody you want to speak to.
And what's your situation? Married, single, you have kids?
Married. Me and Nicole here. We got WebinarNinja's a little baby.
That's your little baby right now. And how old are you?
I am going to turn 38 next month.
Exciting. All right, take us home here. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
20-year-old knew.
You were teaching at this point, right? Or about to be a teacher?
Yeah, I wish I invested in Facebook. I wish I knew that the only way to learn is to try. In the beginning, you just have to keep trying. You don't know anything yet. You don't know what you don't know. And that's kind of a blessing in disguise. But I think in the beginning, you think, I got to read. I got to know every single thing before I even take the first step. That's the worst way to do it. You got to just jump in.
The only way to learn is to try. From Omar. He has a hit podcast, $100 MBA. And then, was scratching his own itch back in 2013 with a webinar platform he edited. Before you knew it, he had 250 pre-sales. And he said, okay, we're going to deliver this thing. We're going to build it. Well, fast forward in December 2016, he was doing about 210 grand in monthly recurring revenue. Now they've grown over 180% year over year. They're doing 640 grand in monthly recurring revenue, 7.7 million annually. That's from their 12,800 customers paying on average $50 a month. He's taken churn from 7% down to 4%, logo churn monthly, super healthy. And he's doing this all in a really content marketing driven way. So very low, if almost zero CAC with his team of 30 folks down there in Sydney and spread throughout the world. Omar, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you, Nathan.